Hello, everybody. Just turn that screen off behind me. Hello, and welcome to the Gaz Williams Show. And what a special show we have in store for you tonight. I am super pleased to have Kim Bjorn, the author of the fabulous Patch and Tweak books. This one came out a couple of years ago. We'll ask Kim a little bit about these. But there is a new one, Patch and Tweak with Moog. And this is a brand new book. It's totally separate from the first book and is jam-packed full of interviews and the good stuff, patches. Because we're going to do some Patch and Tweak live tonight because I have got this here. This is the Moog Trilogy, the Dfam, the Subharmonicon, and the original, the Mother 32. And these work together beautifully. And I have not even tried it yet. They've been here for a few days. I put them in the rack. I didn't try them. So tonight is going to be the first time I'm even ever hearing these things. So we'll share that experience together. So this book then, it's Patch and Tweak with Moog. Now, I think we should go and meet the author because he's going to join us tonight and we're going to work our way through a bunch of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Kim Bjorn. Hello, Kim.
Hello, Gaz. Hi, Gaz. How are you?
Yeah, I was trying to do a bit of a Saturday night sort of entertainment sort of intro for you there. Kim, the new book. So tell us, the original book, when did Patch and Tweak came out? It was a couple of years ago now, right?
Yeah, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it with Chris Meyer. Chris Meyer wrote a lot of it. He's kind of my mentor in Eurorack, and that was the good old days. But it feels like, yeah, it is years ago, but it's still very relevant.
Yes.
So,
so nice. And very much about modular, and
yes,
yeah, and for me, because I, during this lockdown, have really kind of got into modular, having run away from it for a very long time. And what's great about this book is it's all in there. It's like a reference book. There's inspiration there. Also, it's also a little bit of a drool kind of, I want book. Do you ever feel guilty about that? Stimulating people.
But I'm trying to say that it actually saves people a lot of money because you can have a look at all the modules and read about what they're about and try to figure out what is it actually I need for this I want done in my rack,
Excellent. And that's a really hugely important thing because for me, I found it incredibly daunting. One of the reasons why I haven't delved into it is because I've seen just this enormous range of products that are available, like certainly in the Eurorack format. And I've just gone, I'm struggling to keep up with the other things that I'm dealing with. That's just another universe. I just don't think I can afford the brain power. However, your poor brain, blimey, because in between Patch and Tweak coming out and the new one, you brought a book out, Pedal Crush, which I should have. It's downstairs.
Pedal Crush.
Yeah.
Now it's also a bit out of my reach, but yeah, about pedals, I did that with Scott Harper, also known as Knobs, and it's simply because pedals are such a great tool. There's so many kinds. It's like Eurorack. I think we have like 700 pedals in that book. So so together I think they form a really nice library for people interested in all sorts of technology, shazams, whatever you call it, in music.
Yeah. So that then brings us then to the new book.
Yes.
So it's pretty much a book a year then you've been managing to get out. That's absolutely amazing. I mean, because these books they're so full, absolutely jam-packed full of stuff. So
that's
I noticed this one, though, is just Kim Bjorn.
Yeah, basically it's just me and obviously my team with Mike as the editor and the music journalist Alex Maiola have written a few of the long forms about Bob and the history of Moog music. But I'm the guy assembling it, I guess, and also writing the core stuff. And this one I guess I was a bit ambitious about it, but I also really wanted to do this as my own, what do you call it? Like when you're educated in something, when you get your exam, it's like a little
Yeah.
exam for me also.
Yeah.
Actually, you
Yeah,
learn a
like a
lot from
qualification to
teaching.
kind of get through
Yeah.
it. And so, I mean, it's entirely focused on Moog, and that isn't such a specialist thing, because there's an incredible array of instruments that Moog have made, but it typically it is focusing on the
the Mother 32, the Subharmonicon, the Dfam, and then obviously the grandmother and the matriarch also. It's a really nice confined range of semi-modular instruments, and I think I had that desire after Patch and Tweak to kind of say, okay, let's take it easy now. Let's start where many people start in the modular world, with the semi-modular. And that's really something nice, as you also have experienced, about these more confined instruments with a specific set. Some certain choices have been made for you, and that's actually sometimes nice, both in terms of being creative but also from learning, and then simply just have something that you can call an instrument. You don't have to build the whole instrument by yourself.
Right, great. So I mean, it is amazing how Moog have, in the last, I guess, when did the Mother 32 come out? 5 years ago, perhaps?
Yeah, 2015.
2015. So I guess that being the oldest model of the 5 that are mainly featured in here, it does represent quite an interesting shift that Moog had been making these wonderful sort of stage focused instruments like the Voyager and the Sub Fatty and the Sub 37, subsequent 37, which are still current models. But no patch cables, really. I mean, a few sockets on there, but really, this range represents Moog really kind of embracing the huge interest in modular synthesis, and of course, with the heritage of the name, there, going back to the absolute original modular synth. So it feels like a really nice evolution for the company to be following. Now, the reason why I was mentioning that is that when they brought out the Mother 32, that was the first in what's turned out to be a range of products. What's the family name of these?
I'm not sure that it really is a name. We've talked about that during working on the book. So we just call them the Moog semi-modulars, I think, in the book. And because you never know how many there will be, I guess, and you never know. Is it a trinity if you only have 2 of them? I mean, it's just really nice small instruments. And I think it's really cool that they put the Patchbay to the right on these, because you have all that nice space to tweak the knobs, I should say. And you still have a really nice Patchbay to work with if you feel experimental, as we're doing today, I guess.
Great. So what we will do, I mean, I'm sure many of our audience will be aware of these products, but maybe some they'll be new to them. All 3 share a few things in common, but then take quite radical paths of their own.
Definitely.
They've all got sequencers, so like tonight, I haven't got any piano keys plugged into this, so we're going to be working with the sequencers. Now, obviously, we're going to need to clock them together, and the facilities are there with this panel. But what we'll do is we'll approach each one as a separate entity first, and we'll look at some of the patches in the book that relate to each one. And then in doing so, I think that'll give everybody a nice flavour of each one. I'm absolutely dying to get certainly into the Dfam, because it's unlike anything that I've ever heard, really. It's an amazing sounding thing. I have to say, I am ever so deeply in love with the Subharmonicon, as pretty much everybody I know who's got them has become. So bringing them in, I'm wondering about the Mother 32 as well, being a bit of a wild horse there. This one being more the most traditional of the 3, I suppose.
Yeah, but it has really some nice, really nice utilities. You have
Hmm.
two mixers and you have a mult. So there's really and a really nice sequencer. Maybe more diversity in the sequencing than the other ones.
Right.
So it's really, as you say, they have their differences, they have their specialties, but they also together they work really nicely. I've had a lot of fun, interchanging sequences, letting one sequencer control another one, chaining the oscillators
Hmm.
across the units. There's a lot of fun stuff to do. I think the Model 32 actually opens up the two other ones, and for me at least, it serves as a little kind of a hub um, where I usually control the other ones from.
Oh, from the 32. Yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, somehow.
I was I'm drawn to the Dfam. It's got big.
The red button.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
the I should mention that you can get these. You buy them as separate units, but Moog also sell this. I wonder if I could just lift it for a moment. They sell this case, this kind of this stack that make
Yeah, three-tier.
the 3-tier
case or
the 3-tier
unit,
case
yeah.
there. Okay, and
They actually have a 2-tier and a 4-tier too.
oh, they have a
So you
4.
can put
Oh
maybe
wow.
have one, unit with your own Eurorack modules.
Oh
So
yeah, yes, because each one of these you could lift them out of the case and put them in. They are all Eurorack compatible as well. As people who've been watching my show will certainly remember, I put the Subharmonicon. It was a very early one that I put into my rack, and of course it takes up a lot of space. So it's been in and out a few times. Actually, do you know, it was. I got to be honest. I apologise to the audience because I've mentioned this many a time, but once I took the Subharmonicon out of my rack, I really struggled with my rack. It was like the heart of my rack had gone. So when I put it back in, it was like, oh, there it is. So it's a funny one, isn't it? The Subharmonicon. It really is quite a unique creature.
yeah, it really has a special concept, right? With the polyrhythms and the sub harmonics.
Sort of dividing beneath
The sub oscillators.
sub
Yeah, it's
oscillator.
really
Yeah.
special, and also
Yeah.
because there's not really anything like it in Eurorack. Dfam made a subharmonic generator at some
Okay.
point, but this is really cool to work with. I think in many ways, very inspirational.
Okay, so I think without further ado, then I think we should actually, indulge. So, just referring back to the book a moment, then.
Yes, I have it here too. So sometimes I'm looking by the side here. So
You don't need.
should I just read from the book from page 1?
But I was going to say, you don't need to have any of the 5 synthesizers to appreciate this book because there's so much content, sort of about
Yeah, I'd say
other
yeah.
things.
It's very introductional in some areas with sound sources, and what is FM synthesis and all that stuff. But then exemplifying via the Moog synths, and they have some stuff in common, and some stuff are like a little bit different depending on which unit we're talking about.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, there's one thing that all 3, from what I've heard of them, but I can certainly say from the Subharmonicon point of view, they sound like Moogs. There is no question.
Definitely.
There is no question about that, and that's one of the things that really appeals to me about this thing being like it's like welcome to the world of Moog. This is an invitation into a very specific.
Look at all those knobs. I mean, it's
so then, so moving on. Then we are going to start building some patches. So yeah, let's do that. Let's take one at a time, and let's do it from the book as well, so we can cross-reference with the book. And let's take me on a little bit of a patching journey, because right now, well, you see, I have a confession. I haven't even reset the knobs to a starting point. And with anything like this, You really need to learn where the starting point is, because it's just a million billion possibilities. So, very quickly, glide off, gate length, tempo, leave that middle, rate, 12 o'clock, VCO amount, off, pulse width, 12 o'clock, mix, 12 o'clock, attack, off, decay, all.
It depends on. Do you want to start with the Model 32? Is that where we?
I think I was.
You want to start?
Do you know? I think I made an executive decision there.
That's good. That's good. I'm just following along.
Okay, right. I was just
help.
trying to get it into a starting point. So for you to take me, right, resonance off, cut off, open. All right, I reckon that's a pretty good starting place.
Probably. I can't see the controls fully sharp, but that's fine.
Okay,
because
see if we
lost use our ears, I guess.
We can get in tighter. Let's get in a little tighter.
That's fine.
Okay. If people don't mind a little bit of live focusing. Like it's like there. It's not. They don't quite go. It doesn't quite get in focus. Okay, that'll have to do.
Yeah, definitely. So you switched the filter into low pass mode.
Okay.
Did you do that?
Let's make sure it is. Yeah, it's in low pass. Yeah. High pass, low pass.
The Dfam.
Yeah.
So one thing you have up on the upper left, you have the frequency knob, and you with to the right, and in the middle you can switch between the square wave and the saw wave.
Yeah.
So you could should we put it in square wave to start with?
Yeah.
And maybe you should simply just put the VCA mode to on, and it will make some sound.
Just to get it like a drone.
Yeah, it's up on the right, beside the.
Yeah, VCA on.
Yeah.
Some fair mod going on. Okay, take the mod off there. Okay. Right, I'll hold the volume low for a moment.
Yeah, I think that's good. So what you're also getting is you're getting some noise.
Yeah.
That can be fine, but that's the mix knob just to the right of the pulse width. You can turn that counterclockwise, and you get only the oscillator.
Oh yeah, and I just noticed there,
like
that's where you would also get your external in from.
Yeah, instead of the noise.
It switches the noise out if you patch in.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really high.
Okay, sorry.
So it's probably also the pulse width that are doing some things here. The VCO mod amount just below the pulse width.
That's off.
It's convenient. Yeah, you can turn that just counterclockwise. Yeah. It sounds like it switched to frequency, maybe.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, if you turn it up and it's switched to pulse width, you get the LFO impacting. Probably if it's set. Yeah. To try to turn the LFO rate down, it's just below.
Yeah, LFO rate. Yeah. Yeah.
So to the left of the VCO mod amount knob, you have the switch where you can choose if it's the envelope or whatever you put into the VCO mod or the LFO that kind of that actually modulates the pulse width.
Okay.
Or the frequency, whatever it's set to on the switch on the right. So that's where you have some kind of modulation stuff going on. And to the right of the LFO rate knob, you have the LFO wave switch, where you switch between triangle and square wave. You see that? Yeah. So you can just
square.
Yeah.
Can we just have a listen to the rate? How much rate we've got?
Yep. You can go very high.
Oh, it just gets so lovely, doesn't it, when it gets in there? It keeps going.
Yeah.
There we go. That's maxing. Nice. And I'll just flick it to triangle. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And also, obviously, the VCO mod amount knob just above the LFO impacts It's kind of an attenuator.
Oh yeah.
So you have these mod amount knobs here and there on the units, or AMT. It's shortened to the abbreviation.
Oh, say that again. So EMT.
AMT.
Oh, AMT.
Is
Right.
like on the EG amount on the Subharmonicon.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So that here is just spelled out VCO mod amount.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same, if you go right, you have the VCF mod amount knob.
Yeah.
To the right in the same middle row.
Yeah.
And you can, with that, you can actually select the polarity. So you have a minus polarity and a plus polarity.
Yeah.
And again, you can choose the source to be the envelope or the LFO.
Okay. So,
and this can also be, obviously, be overridden by the Patchbay. But for now, we'll just look at the controls.
Okay.
So if you switch the VCA mode that we started with on top right, switch on top right, switch that down
to the envelope group, the generator.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we should actually, if you turn these, is the sequencer running?
Oh yeah, so I'll stop that.
Yeah. Just
Stop.
press the run stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can just press a note now and see how because just above the sequencer you have the attack and decay.
Yeah.
With a sustain switch in the middle.
Some sustain now. So we're getting that square wave. Okay.
Yeah. So far so good, I guess. Some of the there's the glide knob up on the left, which is especially fun with the sequencer. Yeah.
There's always a thing about a Moog with glide. So maybe it's so evocative, but it's a beautiful sound.
It sounds classic. I think.
It does, doesn't
really
it?
Classic.
Yeah.
And the beauty about the sequencer is that you can sequence you can decide which steps has a glide on them, and then you can turn up the glide amount also in general.
Cool.
So I guess that's the filter. We should hear the filter.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You could also turn the modulation off.
Turn the modulation.
It's if you switch the knob to EG, just to the left.
Yeah. Yeah.
The switch it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just place it in. You could place it counterclockwise. Yeah. Yeah.
They always manage to make their filters sound so beautifully musical.
And this is where you get lost so easily, because there's just listening to the sound and the modulations and stuff. It's really nice. You could also turn up the VCF mod amount if it's set to EG, and then try to play some notes and see how it impacts. You have to switch the polarity to plus, the switch to the right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's some resonance.
Resonance is... I might just take the LFO down a little.
Yeah.
I mean...
Or you could switch it to triangle instead of square, and it's less aggressive.
I mean, for a single oscillator, it's a really big sound, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing about this, Gas, is that you can obviously use the LFO in audio rate also and use it as an oscillator. And you can actually also use the filter as an oscillator, as self-oscillating.
Right. Yeah, of course. And because then that's trackable then. Yes. Let's get so that's nice. That's given us a nice overview of the essential tonality of it. Which
think so.
Very, very Moog through and through.
Yeah. So what do you want to know from here?
Yeah, well, you're mentioning about some like the little tricks then, little things that we can do with it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love like fairly vanilla tones like this.
Yeah, me too, actually.
But how about what would be a good thing to do on it that you wouldn't expect that you'd be able to do on it?
Actually, one thing is that we have the two LFO shapes, and some people say, "Oh, it's only two LFO shapes." Well, you actually have a third one if you're clever. If you go to the Patchbay and up to if you go 3 down and to the right, you see four down. You have the LFO triangle out, and the LFO square
out. Yes,
and then you have an input. For, as you remember probably, when you have a white background, or it's the output, and when it's just normal, it's an input.
It's an input.
So you have an input for the LFO rate. If we now try to route the but that's normal, so we can do that. Just switch the VCF mod source down to be the LFO actually controlling the filter cutoff.
Oh yeah.
Or on the right, to the right is the
got him.
Yeah. And then it has to be in plus, and just maybe turn it to noon, and the filter to noon, maybe the cutoff to noon, maybe the resonance fully down to counterclockwise. Yeah, and maybe we should turn the VCO mod amount totally down counterclockwise, so we don't have any interference. Try to play a note now. Yeah, so we get that triangle, and if you switch to the LFO to the pulse, or the square, it's another sound, right? So, but we can get the in-between by actually patching the LFO square to the LFO rate.
Okay.
So you actually you're actually hard syncing the two. Yeah, just
to the LFO rate. Gonna find
just
him.
2 steps to the left in the same row as the LFO. Yeah. It's actually pretty simple. Oh, no, one down. It was to the...
Oh, sorry, they're above. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Glad someone's paying attention.
Yeah. Right. Try to turn the VCF mod amount up, maybe, to hear the effect more.
VCF mod amount?
Yeah.
I'm turning it sort of...
you turned it. Okay.
So shall I pump up the...
Yeah, try to turn the rate a bit up. Maybe turn the filter a bit up also.
Yeah. Or whether we get those clicks coming from the square wave.
Yeah, but it's still set. The LFO should be set to, I think, well, this is because, you need to put the LFO triangle output to the VCF cutoff input. So we get the correct, that's me.
Okay. So we take the triangle out of the...
yeah, from the middle of them, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And then pop that into the cutoff.
VCF cutoff, that should make a difference. There's something about these semi-modulars you have to kind of learn what are the normal connections and what are... When can you override?
Right. What is normal? Yes. Yeah. Because I mean, really, without even touching that, without even going there, for people who are just starting, perhaps as well, you can get a lot without even going there.
Without patching, you see a lot of YouTube videos with no patches.
So, and that's testament to it being a really nice toneful instrument. The raw tone is so sweet and musical. And the same can't be said. All analog synths are not born equal. They really do have different sort of tonal qualities. That this is why actually that is an important thing, isn't it?
Definitely.
This is why when people say, "Why have you got so many? Why do you need more?" They're so different. They're different. They're so different. You're always gonna need more.
Yeah, and also, one thing is tonality and the controls, but also the the limitations each instrument has, that leads to you trying to be more creative in how can you achieve the stuff you want to achieve. So that's a really nice thing.
Yeah.
The more limitations, the better.
Yeah. So I mean,
So
however, we are here to go a little bit beyond. So right. So now then, this little patch is quite nice now. It means that
just
by
try play a note, see how it works. Can you hear? Now you can hear it's a saw wave.
Yeah. You can hear it's. There it is.
And
very cool.
You can see it actually is a kind of delay effect actually.
Yeah.
Already got into that.
Ah.
Yeah. If you turn the decay to maybe like 3 o'clock or something.
Because as it decays and it's still pulsing, it's giving the effect of an echo.
Yeah.
Because that is something, isn't it? And it's something, or something that typifies all three in this Moog semi-modular range. None of them have effects.
Exactly.
And that's that's kind of curious, because you would possibly expect things like this to have some sort of built-in effects. For me, I think it is again the testament to the richness of the tone, that you're not necessarily looking to smother it with flattering reverb, for instance. However, this stuff does sound pretty mind-blowing if you do put it into effect. But
it does.
We're not going to do that tonight, though. We're going to keep it. We're going to keep it raw. We're keeping it real tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
Yes.
So should we keep it even more raw? Maybe we should take that LFO into audio range and just mix it in. So you could actually take the. We've not even started using the utilities really, but you could actually, if you try to play a note, or just hold a note down, and then turn the mix knob up on the left, turn that right,
into
the mix knob just above you.
Sorry, what we're saying? The mix.
The mix knob.
The VC.
There's two mix, not the VC mix, but the mix up besides the pulse width. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Turn that to noon.
So we're going to be bringing in the noise.
Some noise,
yeah.
Yeah. And obviously here, instead of the noise, you could choose to pass the LFO in audio. You could simply output the LFO to the external audio in, which is the upper left patch point. Just unplug the black cable.
Yeah.
And just from the top, this one, just move it up.
Just move it up into audio in.
Yeah. It's almost like playing chess, this,
Yeah.
One up, one left.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
You could, and then you have to
triangle.
just turn up the the LFO rate.
Yeah. Into audio rate.
Yeah.
So we're turning the LFO up into audio rate. It's audio. Because it's audio rate, it's coming out of there and coming into the audio in. Okay, makes sense to me. There we go. We can hear it.
Yeah, how much is it up? Just all the way up, I think.
That's mad.
Is that how we can go now? That's probably because we have, did this little trick with the saw wave. So you could just simply unplug the white cable and use maybe the LFO triangle output. Yeah, that's what we're using. Yeah. So now again.
Cool. So look, if I push this mix, we can hear that. So that, I guess we could.
You could tune them. Yeah. Or maybe tune them a fifth apart or something. That's also. So now if you press another key, because we haven't even gone so far, try to press another key and you will see that the LFO will still be the same. Can you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that
and
needs.
you can use that as a utility, obviously, as
You
having a
could.
droning
Yeah.
voice.
So let's get that. Let's do that first then. Let's try and get the pitch of that down with the. So the LFO rate there. Yeah. So.
That's the F you're tuning to right now.
Yes.
So what you could do now, and what you would normally do, is actually, if you see on the lower right in the Patchbay, you have a KB output, which is the keyboard CB output.
Yes.
And you could plug into the input there, and then up into the LFO rate.
Mm.
And there you have it.
Okay. So now it's not droning.
No, it's following the key. At least it's tracking, I see you're in the lowest octave.
Yes,
Maybe not. No, you're in the middle octave.
Yeah, let's just tweak that a little. But it's definitely another oscillator, isn't it?
Yeah. So already there, I mean, and this is it's a common trick. It's not anything unusual, but it's just nice to know that you have that option at least.
Yeah. God, it's raining.
Yeah.
It's raining. It's a storm. Holy cow! I'm in the attic here. It sounds biblical out there. God.
We should do a rainy patch later then. So.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I was wondering about one thing we could also do with that keyboard output, and where we could use one of the utilities actually.
Right.
And that is, if you have something like the grandmother or the matriarch or any other analog synth, you can often use, you have keyboard tracking on the filter, but you don't have that as as a standard on the Mother 32. Okay. So how would you do that, Gas? I'm just seeing if you could answer that.
So, oh my God, can you hear that rain?
Wow. That's sound effects coming through. Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna use the rain as. Can you ask me the question again, please?
That's an excuse. Let's see if we could do the keyboard tracking on the filter. So the filter opens a bit more the more we higher notes we play.
Okay. So typically we would look for the key. We would look for the key tracking control, which there isn't one.
Exactly.
So right. Well, but we have got keyboard out. So that. But we're using it at the moment.
Yeah, but right now either you could use actually a stackable cable, but you could also just unplug all what you have and let's just try this little patch.
Okay, let's do that.
So
let's get back into here.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So you have the keyboard out, that's the white cable, so put that into the mix 2. Now we are using the VC mixer.
The mix 2.
So that's 2 up and one left from where you are.
Oh yeah, 2 up and 1 left. Mix 2.
I think that's the navigation I'll use.
That's good. That is helpful. I'm like so docile. Yeah.
So if you look at that row, you have the mix 1, mix 2, and you have a mix output, and you also have a VC mix control. It actually means that you can actually also use this as a VCA.
Clever.
So it is really, I mean, the VC mix is one of the things that really opens up this unit, I think.
It's slightly unusual. Slightly unusual, isn't it?
Yeah. So actually, if you still wanted to use the keyboard out to the LFO rate, then plug it first into the mult. There's a mult just below.
So plug that into the mult.
Yeah, one of the mult outs to the LFO rate.
Yep.
And the other mult out simply to the mix 2.
So again, really cool when mix.
I'm enjoying this. I should have a little drink. It's just water, but.
Yeah, That's all good.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So the VC mix is it's also, it has a normal voltage, but so in this instance we don't need to really plug anything into the mix one. But the mix, we use the VC mix as a way of controlling how much of the keyboard's CV we want to be sent to the cutoff.
Right.
So to send it to the cutoff, we need to route the VC mix. What is it called here? The VC mix output. Yeah, on the right in that row.
I've just got to do
so
something.
You need more cables.
I've got to do something.
Many cables.
This is proof. This is proof. Well, it's sort of proof that these things have been taunting me. They've been looking at me and they've been going, "Come." Aha.
This is page 32.
Right.
Talk about this. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and you know why I wrote a book about this, guys? It's because I can't remember everything in my head. Some of it I can. But it's really nice to have something written you can have inside your unit, which is not a manual, because they're not always that musical manuals. I mean, Moog has a really good way of introducing you and have a quick start for the units, but it's really nice to maybe put it into a broader context sometimes. I think. And that's what I'm trying to do in the book.
Well, I think as well, I mean, the interviews happen at strategic times, as you read in the book. I like how it's amazing, though, because it feels that you are connecting the human experience to the whole notion of this. It's not just a technical manual. It's not just a technical walkthrough. It's very much about emotions and understanding your emotions and how to maybe interpret those emotional expressions through the medium of synthesis. I think
definitely
would be fair to say. And it's written, as are all of your books, in a very approachable and just super informative. And are you a minimalist? Would you describe yourself as a minimalist?
Yeah, I once had a former boss back in my previous life who said I was very good at condensing things.
Right.
In the way we use, take something and kind of extract it and make it presentable to people. And I think that's maybe talent I have that comes to expression here. Being able to visualize it. There's a lot of illustrations, as you'll see in the book, and
loads and loads.
Yeah. And I think it's really because I'm originally a designer, and I really think it's interesting how much the visual and the audible side of things can be connected. And so for me at least, I understand audio better when I see it sometimes. That's why an oscilloscope is such a nice thing to have when you work with Modular, for example.
I've just recently got one and I'm finding it amazing, especially when you take a pure sine wave and then start. I don't want to use the word. I was going to use the word molesting it then, but that sounds. That's got horrible connotations there. But I mean, when you start doing stuff to the sine wave and a beautiful, smooth, gorgeous sine wave, and then once it starts to take on interesting characters, when you see it and hear it, you see and hear it, and what you see and what you hear connect.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's so important, I think. So where were we?
Before all this talk
you were unpacking some cables, weren't you?
Yes, I've got a bunch of cables. That's right.
Yeah. I could say maybe, I don't have any cables here, but stackables, though they don't come with the Moog units, it's always nice to have, splitter cables or a stackable. Though there are this mult in the in the Model 32, I really like, personally at least, to be able to split modulation signals and have the same modulation signal going to different places.
Well, I've got
maybe attenuated or inverted sometimes.
Shall I just grab a splitter and do we need one now?
We can use the mult as we are about to do. We just need one more little cable, I think.
Okay,
so we can go back to the Patchbay.
Okay, let's get back on here.
Let's see if this works. It's like remote patching. It's interesting. So we were actually taking the VC mix output and putting it into the so the VCF cutoff input.
Oh yeah, cut off. Oh, cool. Yeah.
The VC VC mix
Yes.
output
Yeah,
to
into the
VCF
cutoff.
cutoff
Yeah.
input. Yeah. So
So
this is actually the VC mix output. I can I think we have to go one
what?
down on the
Sorry.
VC mix.
No. Yeah,
Or-
one down. No, what's right? VC
Yeah.
mix
Yeah.
output.
VC
Yeah.
mix. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, was good. Shall we listen?
So yeah, let's listen. I think the LFO is turned up. Yeah, if you turn the mix knob beside the pulse width knob to noon, maybe.
Oh yeah, there's more action going on over there.
Yeah, and maybe turn the filter to noon also. So and then play some really low notes. Maybe use the octave knobs.
Oh,
yeah, and then go really high and see if the filter opens more.
That's right. Because we were getting into VCF tracking, weren't we? That's where we were at. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you stay there, you can tweak the VC mix knob to taste to see how much do you want the filter to open.
Okay. So yeah, so we can have it. Oh, it sounds awesome, doesn't it?
Try to go even lower also. Yeah. You see the filter closest.
Yeah.
And it opens more when you're in the higher range.
Yeah.
So that's a way of achieving this keyboard tracking.
That's a nifty trick.
Fine tuning it via the VC mix.
Yes. Fine. Yes. And actually, it is. I'm just getting. I was going to say the VC mix.
But this actually also one thing.
It's nice.
What I always like to do is simply just unplug everything. So if you take all the cables out except the audio cable, of course, from the VCA,
then
we can actually use the VC mix now because we could say if like the LFO has the different waveform outputs, the VCO has the different two different waveform outputs too in the Patchbay, the saw and the pulse.
Yep.
And so you could say switch. I think it's still at pulse set on the switch up on the left.
Yep.
Yeah.
To sawtooth.
You could put it on sawtooth, and then you could actually. Because if we want to make a voice where we want to blend the noise in, but we also want to have a bit of the pulse in, but still have some of the saw wave input. We can use the VC mix to patch because the noise has an output, which is awesome for modulation, by the way.
Yeah.
Totally mayhem.
So because that noise is going to be giving crazy values.
Yeah, you could patch it to the cutoff, to the resonance.
Should we just do that first?
Yeah, try.
Let me find the noise.
One of the great things is that you can't really ruin a lot in these units, and obviously you just have to be aware of patching an input to an output.
Yeah, input to an output. That's pretty much the only rule, isn't it? And it's not to be too. Oh yeah, so we're going noise output. And then should we just have that kind of affect the LFO rate? Or
if it makes sense, I'm not sure, but we could also at this point, I'll say put it to the cutoff or the resonance. That's probably more fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And obviously, again, you could put it through the VC mix to attenuate the modulation source if you wanted to do that. Yeah.
Right. So this VC mix, I'm just going to get my head around it a little bit more then, is because, again, isn't something that you typically find, is it?
Well, it's basically, it is a mixer, but it's also a CV source. It has a voltage output. So you could actually just
Right.
patch from the VC mix output and to, for example, the VCF cutoff and use that as a control. Actually, that's because the artists have also provided patches in the book, and I think it's Hannes Bieger from Germany who uses this VC mix also to have more controls just from one knob, to be able to control actually 3 knobs in total by one knob.
Nice.
So that's one of the advantages of that also.
Okay, that's cool.
So yeah. So
Shall
where
we
is the
listen where we're
cutoff
at?
So what have we done now? What is going on in the Patchbay?
Have I been
Something
putting
is
things
not
in?
plugged in.
So the VC mix is coming out and affecting the cutoff.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. So that's all for now. Something else is going on.
That's cool, Owen. It is a very
Yeah, it sounds cool.
yeah.
I think you have the. That's because you have the VCF mod amount turned up, probably.
Yeah, VCF. Yes, it
So,
is.
yeah, one thing you could do, because if you check the Patchbay, you can see that there's a VC. Where is it? No, I can't find it now. But you have at least the VCO mod amount where you can input a mod source.
Yes.
But personally, I use the VC mix also to actually blend the envelope and the LFO to control the VCF. So you don't have to choose between either the envelope or the LFO controlling the filter cutoff, but you can actually have both in varying amounts.
And then the VC mix becomes more envelope affecting the filter or more LFO.
Yeah.
That is
basically.
that's very cool. So that
that could be one way of using it.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's cool. Do you
can also use it as if you patch. Yeah, sorry.
No, go on. You carry on.
Okay. Because the interesting thing is the VC mix control input. That's where you can input a CV signal, actually moving the knob for you.
Yes.
So you can actually input an envelope, for example, and use it as an envelope from another place. Let's say from the Dfam or the Subharmonicon, and then you actually have a way of controlling, for example, the filter in another way than just using the amp envelope. So there are different ways of doing stuff, though it seems limited at first when you see it, but the Patchbay really opens it up.
And again, this is something that in the book goes into quite a lot of detail to encourage.
There's a lot of ideas. But one thing maybe we should explore, what about the sequencer? Should we go into that now, Gaz? Or do you think there are any questions from the chat? Or
that's not a bad idea. Okay, chat, this is your moment. Before we leave the Mother 32 and move on, any specific questions about the Mother 32? I think let's move on from it after. Well, we'll check any questions, and then we'll look at the sequence. We'll look at the sequences relative to each other. I think that might be quite good. That might be quite fun, because the sequences are, each one is a unique aspect. So maybe we'll do like 2 sweeps. We'll do a tonal sweep, which we've just done over the 3, and then we'll play with the sequences, because affecting the way the sequences work is a huge part of what makes the trilogy so much fun. Allegedly. That's not based on my own experience, but I've seen some great performances. Lisa Belladonna, of course. I saw, in fact, that's not a bad little moment, just to have a little recount of a certain. Where's the book? We've got a little backstory, haven't we? That is.
That's right. Back in LA before the pandemic.
Yes. Yeah. At the NAM show, so Winter NAM. This year.
It feels like years ago.
It's weird.
Right now. Yeah.
But I'd been invited to a secret. Moog for the last few years haven't actually been at NAM, but have been nearby doing some quite cool things. And they'd they were in a little secret location, and their big launch at the NAMM show was the Subharmonicon, and I'd been invited there, which I was super excited about. And then we were chatting, and I'd run into Kim at NAMM, and we were chatting, and I was going to this party, and, but it was I was like, oh, shall we? And so I rang. I rang my man in Moog there, Jim, and he graciously allowed you to come along as well, because they were being really well. They'd be overrun. It was only a small little place, but we ended up going and having a really cool party in this studio. It's not
I think
too
we had
far.
tacos also.
We did.
Yeah.
And Lisa Belladonna was there, and Jason
So
Daniel.
great to meet her. Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, and there were jams going on. There were little rigs going on. You could sit down, and I sat down with a Subharmonicon for the first time at that party, and it was it was just instant love. I was just, and then it was like, how on earth am I going to keep quiet about this puppy? but it was interesting because that helped with the kind of with the development of this book, didn't it?
You were helping giving birth to this somehow.
Yay!
Unknowingly, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The backstory is, obviously, we talked with Moog before that, and I think it was just a coincidence that you and I had a chat before you grabbed me and threw me into that taxi.
Yeah.
And we went to the studio.
It's like, there's a party going on, and we're gonna, yes.
But it's also, I had the same experience with the Subharmonicon as you. I love sequencers. I have to say that. I really love. I can't get enough different sequencers. But figuring out those sequences, and it took me a while to just, what is going on here, But it was, when you kind of get it, it's like, oh, this is really clever. It opens up so much new territory in such a nice way.
Yeah. Well, so let's do that. Let's have a little look at the Subharmonicon then. I think moving up in stages, I think makes sense, doesn't it? Let's get in and we'll see how we can get how much in focus we can get it.
And it's interesting, Gas, because the Subharmonicon may sound and seem for some more complicated than the Mother 32, but it's actually a bit more simple, and it's very neatly laid out, and it doesn't have the same utilities, but then it's really logically laid out on the front, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had a lot of fun with this, and your views.
Constant fun. It's every time. It feels like a bit of a. I always feel that it's a bit of a special treat when I fire up the Subharmonicon. That it takes you to. It takes you to this really special place that makes you feel good being there. So let's go to that special place. So let's I'm not sure let's see what's happening. And I'm not sure what on earth will be going on.
So far, so good.
Yeah. But without delving too much into the sequencer, it's difficult with this one. Less so maybe, because it's so about the way that the sequencer works and affects.
But one way of doing it is simply stopping it, pressing the play button, and then using you could reset it also. And then, as you know, use the trigger button to trigger
just
that.
To trigger it, just to one note at a time. It'll trigger the same note, but then I've got a next.
That's really convenient when you're kind of what do you call it? Fleshing out your sequence.
Fleshing it out. It allows you to tune that very specific step.
Yeah. And then you can press next, and then you can tune the next step.
Yeah. Now I'm on the next step.
Yeah, cool.
it's a work of art. This Subharmonicon, it really is, and everybody I know who's spent time with it just charms the pants off you, doesn't it?
That's the very British way of saying it, I guess. I don't know how do you start on the subharmonica, because I think people have various approaches how to start.
I mean, the way I've been doing it, I typically turn down all of the oscillators apart from one and get a sequence going on it.
I think you're also are you in 5? No, you're okay with the octaves, maybe. Oh. You're in 1 octave, yeah. Maybe 2 is nice.
Yeah.
So I think what makes the logical thing about this is you have the sequencer section on the left, and the polyrhythms, and then you have the oscillator section in the middle, with the mixers on the bottom. And then on the right you have the filter. And the envelopes. And the VCA.
And very simple, just attack, decay. Sorry, VCA attack, decay, and VCF attack, decay. So, but again, its simplicity is part of its deception, because it gets incredibly complex. In a musical sense, tonally can be quite simple in a way because of the interactions, the polyrhythms, and the way that the sequences kind of affect each other. And we'll have a look at that in a moment. But just going between the two, the family sound. Let's just. That was probably not the most family sound, but.
Two siblings having a quarrel.
Actually, very realistic, especially lockdown family quarrel. But they do like the filter, for instance. If we were to do like a filter, that, and then wrong button. Let's take that frequency down. Oh, what have I done?
You're probably at a step that you're 2 different steps. Try to reset it also.
Reset
the sequencer.
Okay. Let's get a bit lower. But there it is. There's that. There we go.
But again, also, I think one of the nice things about this one is that you have the square wave or the pulse, and you have the saw wave. And then you have the case in the middle where you actually have a different setting that you can use also.
This middle setting here.
Yeah. In this one, you actually have the sub oscillator modulating the main oscillator. You can the pulse width of the main, which is then a pulse.
Right. So we can show.
I'm good at explaining it in the.
No. Well, we'll do. So if I just hang on. So if I just trigger this,
we only hear the first, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now.
And try to put the in the middle. Maybe.
So I'll go in the middle now. So that's the saw. So in the middle then.
Yeah.
So look at that.
And try turning the sub 1 frequency.
Oh yes. That's an amazing sound, isn't it? And that is still with the sub levels down.
Yeah.
So if I brought sub level 1 up as well. And then sub 2 level.
What it actually does here is if you turn the VCO 1 level down,
Yeah.
so we only hear the sub 1 or sub 2. No,
sorry.
that's the
Sorry.
frequency.
I know. Sorry.
The level.
Level. Yeah.
Try to, yeah. And if you maybe turn up the sub 1 and 2 frequencies to the right, so we get a higher frequency. Yeah. So these are saw waves now. And the one above is the main oscillator is a pulse wave.
Interesting.
So
I'll bring that pulse.
Yes. Yeah. And try to turn the other two down in the level. You can hear the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but one thing that is interesting here is actually that you can have them separate. You can have the saw waves on the sub oscillators and the pulse wave on the main oscillator without having the sub oscillator saw wave modulating the pulse width of the main oscillator. And you can do that by in the Patchbay actually patching just as what I call a dummy cable into the VCO1 PWM up on the first row, third from the left. Yeah.
And then
just like a dummy cable.
And have it not go anywhere.
Yeah, and if you press a note of the trigger now, it should be different. Do you have any? I can't see what's going on in the mixer. Yeah, you should turn down the sub levels on the. To see if you can.
Right, sub levels clearly. Roll off now.
Yeah, yeah, and the VCO 1 wave is still in the middle, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Now you can hear the square wave.
Yeah.
More clean, right?
Yeah.
And you could turn the sub 1 level or the sub 1 frequency totally clockwise, so you get the same. That's the same note, same octave.
Yeah.
Just turn the level up slightly for the sub 1 level. Yeah.
There it is.
So now you get both the saw wave and the clean pulse wave.
Yes.
But obviously you could also use like the Mother 32 to modulate the pulse width. You know, you could use the LFO from the Mother 32 to modulate that pulse width.
Okay.
Why not?
Why not? Ooh.
Yeah. We don't have to hear the Mother 32. It's
just
using the LFO.
Yeah. So I'll take
the nice thing about having these together.
Yeah. The triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is the weight on the LFO on the Mother 32?
Let's have a look at the.
That's still in audio.
Yes. That's cool, though, isn't it?
You'll also turn it down to very slow, like really counterclockwise.
Okay.
The LFO rate.
That's a wicked sound, though.
You get an effect that you don't get on the Subharmonicon by itself.
Okay, so like a slow, and we got this, real slow. So handily that those LED light is giving us a good indication of the speed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's taking a while.
So what is?
I'll take my decays down.
Ah, okay. Oh, it should be maybe set them to 9 o'clock or so.
The decays.
Also the VCA attack, if you turn that counterclockwise. Is it the VCA?
Yeah, they're both off.
Yeah, the VCA decay is probably a bit too short right now.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
So obviously with the Subharmonicon you have the controls for the quantization of the notes, and you have the octaves you can choose in the middle, and also the way the sequences should, if they should affect the sub oscillators or not. And
These
I
switches.
think it takes a lot of um, mucking around, just trying out to do stuff and see
Yeah.
what sounds good in your ears to try them out.
So here's a question I have for you. I mean, something that is quite an unusual thing with the Subharmonicon is when you've got the pitch quantizer, you can go from like no quantize with the lights off, even temperament in full chromatic, or like a kind of diatonic even temperament, or chromatic just intonation, or diatonic just intonation. Now, this, thankfully, the book goes into some detail to try and explain this, because this is quite, I mean, you know, if you're a piano tuner, this is the sort of stuff that you maybe understand. Why do you think Moog have put the even temperament and the just intonation options on there?
There's some backstory to that because obviously the Subharmonicon is inspired by the Trautonium and the subharmonics. The early experiments from I don't remember the year, but you know there's this whole backstory that also is in the Subharmonicon manual. So just intonation is also it's also a way to achieve less beating of the oscillators because you tune to it's another tuning. So it's more like you can say that the distances between the intervals are always in a harmonic relation to the frequency of the root note, in exact ratio. Just like if you have other instruments like, I mean, you must know this, you're a bass player, but like strings without frets, maybe like a violin, for example, voices, just intonation is, some people see it as a more, what do you call it, clean, pure way of,
Well, it is quite an interesting thing, and we'll demonstrate this in a moment, though, that when you do go between the different modes, it really does make a kind of a huge difference to the way that the sequence feels. And
but sometimes it can be difficult to hear it, actually, and that's why we in the book have there's a little recipe on how you can actually hear the difference, and also how much the pitch is off depending on from just to from the different intonations, just intonation and the equal temperament, because it can be hard to hear and understand the difference. So we're trying to visualize it in the book.
Yeah, I really appreciated that, because it is. But I typically just flick when I've got a sequence going. I typically just flick through it and go, "Oh, that's nice." I'll leave it there. Okay, so in a nutshell, then, 2 oscillators with 2 sub oscillators each, and those oscillators can be tuned to subdivisions of the root oscillator.
Yes.
Coupled with a little when you think 2 4-step sequences, and you think 4 steps, that's ridiculous. How can you possibly make interesting music with 4 steps? When you play with this thing, you really don't need more than 4 steps. I think it would probably sort of, I think that limit of 4 steps helps it from maybe getting out of control, possibly. It kind of keeps it musical.
Definitely, but I think what keeps it musical is also the quantization and the fact that you can control the range of the steps, the knobs, by choosing the octave range on the between the frequency knobs. And because actually, I think you're saying something important here, that you play the instrument, because I see a lot of YouTube videos where it's just playing. But when you start tweaking the step knobs, for example, in the right places, you can get some really. You're actually playing with the instrument and playing the instrument.
Absolutely, that's something. Well, let's try and do something like. Oh, see if I can make some sense of the sound.
Maybe switch them both to pure saw wave or something.
Yeah. This kind of like, I like kind of trying to go from a sort of chaotic thing, and then it starts with an even temperament here. But those like weird little jaggedy steps that you get.
Yeah, but you get that because you have two rhythm generators on each sequencer right now. So
you can see the kind of craziness of the. If I was to just make them run, so Oscillator 2 is following Sequencer 2, and Oscillator 1 is following Sequencer 1. But if I make the extra oscillators,
that's where it can get a bit atonal sometimes, or like disharmonic maybe.
But see, look, switch it to. See, the just intonation one starts to sound quite jazzy.
Exactly. So I think what people also what you could actually do is what could be a nice thing to do is create these little fills where you have two rhythm generators. You turn fully clockwise, and maybe a few notches down.
Yeah, so we'll do 4 fully clockwise and one
maybe
just a
bit.
Yeah,
like 4 o'clock. Yeah. And then you can punch them in and out to just create little fills once in a while. Maybe it's too much in relation to the other ones. Also because the VCA attack is it fully down?
Yeah.
Also the VCF attack.
Should we open them up a bit?
Maybe we should also lower the what is it? Decay on the are the attack on 0?
They both are 0 now.
It can be easier to hear when you hear the attack.
So let's see if we can get some more sweetness in the harmony.
Sometimes it's also because they go so deep, so low, the sub oscillator, so you might want to turn the main frequency knobs a bit more to the right.
It does go into some strange musical tones.
I would start by only having the sequencer control the main oscillator, because the two sub oscillators are always following. They're just not getting the same pitch information as from the sequencer as the main oscillators.
Now, let's get a little bit more interest in the rhythms going on now. Oh yeah, so we can try our fills.
I'm just seeing if you have. How is the VCF ET amount position? Is it at noon?
The VCF
ET amount, yeah. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it was in the negative side.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's bipolar.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there we go. Well spotted. But these kind of funny, kind of such odd steppy things. I mean,
it's a beast.
It is. You do exactly like you said, though. You do have to play around with it, and then it starts to amazingly form into something.
Yeah. And I mean, that's only the front panel controls. We haven't even looked much at the Patchbay yet.
Of course.
And if you actually start looking at the Patchbay, you'll see that for example, you have inputs for the rhythm generators, and those are really fun to play around with. You could, for example, patch the LFO from the Model 32 into one of these that are active, and then it would control which division it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And also, of course, for people not knowing the Subharmonicon, but maybe all your viewers do, but those two or all six oscillators are going through the same filter and also the envelope, the VCA with the envelope. So yeah, so you have, that's why it's kind of re-triggering, some would say. Yeah, but you could, one thing that is actually really nice in a Eurorack environment is actually taking the outputs of all these oscillators. You actually have 6 outputs for each oscillator. And then imagine if you route them into a mixer, which is CV controlled, then the fun really starts. So you can control the volumes of each, like dynamically, route them different places.
Yes, because here we go. Yeah. So VCO2, sub 1, sub 2, the same on the top there. So yeah, 6.
But what is interesting here, I think also, is you actually have envelopes here, outputs. So you have the VCA envelope out, and you have the VCF envelope out.
Yeah.
So that means you can use, for example, one of these envelopes to go to the Model 32, for example.
Yes.
That's one way of doing it.
So in a way, that's one of the kind of nice things, isn't it? That the within this kind of family, what may not be in one, you may find in the other, and this alignment of the patch panels certainly kind of makes for some interesting connections. Let us, though, I think we should really
go to the Dfam.
Go to the Dfam. Yes. Now this thing has been a complete mystery to me. Every time I've heard it, I've been utterly spellbound by it. But in terms of programming it, well, let's see. Now, Dfam. This is a drum machine? Not really. Dfam stands for drummer from another mother. Semi-analog, semi-modular analog percussion synthesizer.
Yeah, and it's definitely not semi-analog. It's fully analog. This is the one.
Sorry, semi-modular analog. Yeah.
But this is the one that has, it's fully analog. The sequencer is analog, and it doesn't have, you can't upload any new firmware to it or anything.
Oh,
It is what you see is what you get, and that's the beauty of it, I think. And some say, oh, it only has these 8 steps. But again, if you have the 2 other ones, you can do so much crazy stuff. And I think we should get into some crazy stuff. But I think,
righty.
Obviously it's really tailored for percussion sounds by actually having 3 envelope decay knobs. One for the oscillator, the frequency.
Yeah.
One for the, it's over there somewhere. VCO.
VCO
for both
decay.
The oscillators, actually.
Yeah.
The decay, and then it has amount knobs for both of them. And then you have below the filter, which can be switched to high pass or low pass. That's on the right. I'm pointing at my screen now. So you have below that, you have the VCF decay, and you have the VCF envelope amount, which is also bipolar, and you have a VCF mod amount or a noise impact, can you say, and the VCA decay. So you have actually a lot of decay controls, but what about the attack? Well, you have either a fast or a slow attack.
Yeah.
And you see the little switch on top between resonance and volume on the right.
Yeah.
There.
Fast and slow. And that's it. VC8.
That's it. Yeah. That's really cool.
And I guess, actually. Yeah, you know, with percussion synthesizers, I guess there's not a lot going on. You want snappy envelopes. Absolutely. Yeah.
And there's a lot to that envelope, but maybe that's a lot to go into. But in the middle, you have these little knobs where you have the levels. It's a little mixer. You have the VCO1 level, the noise level, or external audio level, and then you have the VCO2 level.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is, if you see to the left of the VCO1 frequency and the amount knob belonging to that, you see there's the sequence of pitch mod switch.
Yeah, a little switch here.
Yeah, and you can switch it between, as you see on the top, being both of them.
Yeah. Off in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then VCO2.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool because you can choose how much tonality do you want in your sequence by, saying, okay, maybe the VCO1 is, like constant bass drum tone sound. And you have some pitch going on with the oscillator too.
Okay.
And then, and then obviously the heart sync and the frequency modulation is key to also getting these really nice drum sounds or percussion sounds going into metallic ranges and stuff.
So, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, it's a bit strange because with like a drum machine, you would be thinking about multiple voices. How many drum sounds can happen at the same time on this?
There's only one sound at a time.
One sound.
You could have like use the noise for like the hi-hat, whatever, and then the oscillator, one of the oscillators or both of them as a bass drum, like really low, and then you can have anything in between actually happening. And the key to this is the pitch knobs on the sequencer, the upper range, and then you have the lower range, which says velocity, which in this instance is normal to the VCA, so it controls the volume. I don't know if you have anything going or if you have turned up.
Yeah, let's see. This is it. This is going to be my first. This is it. My first time. First time with it. Here we go. Haha.
Something is going on.
Yeah. Now this settings this little bit of music is born out of pure random. However the knobs are.
Okay. So I would suggest you start by turning all the knobs in the sequencer counterclockwise. In both
in pitch and velocity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just fully down.
Yeah.
And then you can turn step 1 and 5, turn them fully clockwise on the velocity.
On the velocity.
So that's
okay.
That's
the
volume.
1 and 5.
Yeah. So you hear something?
Yeah, just like
a little click
thing. Yeah.
So you can slowly turn the pitch up to maybe, let's say 9, 10 o'clock maybe, just to see how that sounds. Yeah, we get something. And then we should see how the frequency is set at the two oscillators. Maybe is it set at noon, around noon?
The frequency, yeah,
VCO
noon.
1 and 2.
Yeah,
frequency?
both are noon. Yeah.
It seems like VCO1, the level is down, so you could turn that maybe to noon also. The small knobs in the mixer section in the middle. Up. You go up.
Pitch. Oh, sorry. These ones. Yeah. VCO. Yeah.
Mixers,
The small mixer. Okay. They're both at 12. Yeah. Do you know, Kim, you are absolutely showing you know these things very well.
I've spent quite some time with them.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful.
Fair play.
Maybe also, I think I'm just looking at my units.
Yeah.
If you turn the upper, the sequence of pitch mod, the little switch between to the left of the first oscillator, is it?
Yeah.
In the upper position?
It's on VCO 1 and 2.
Yeah. Okay. So we have pitch going to both of these.
Yes.
It seems also the maybe set all the VCF EG amount to noon.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, all the amount knobs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Get the resonance down a bit. Okay.
I'm trying to see where we are. Maybe turn that counterclockwise. Maybe
Keep that one
the
off.
noise.
Keep the noise off.
And that's the modulation of the filter. So
Yeah.
we could try to turn the pitch like to noon on step 1 and 5 still. Something. So I'm trying to see if VCA decay is maybe turn that to 10 o'clock. On the
VCA
right.
decay,
VCA.
yeah. VCA decay, VCA decay, VCA. Oh, on the right.
Yeah.
VCA decay, yeah.
So now we get a bit of more. And the VCO decay should probably be turned. You can turn it. Yeah, sorry, I'm going back and forth.
That's
fully
fine.
counterclockwise, I think. Yeah. So you get more clean. So you don't have the modulation of the pitch. But should we do a bass drum? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. So we need that little decay in the VCO. Just turn it up to maybe not too much, maybe 9 o'clock. And then turn the VCO EG amount to, try to turn it clockwise. Yeah, so you get,
Mm-hmm.
and see, there's something that's happening.
Yeah.
And let's see what we have. Let's try to turn the VCF decay.
Yeah.
Jumping back.
Yeah.
That's the modulation stuff.
VCF decay, yeah.
Try to turn it counterclockwise. And the VCF EG amount, it's still on the noon, so it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
I was just wondering. Maybe turn the cutoff. Where's the resonance? Is that fully counterclockwise?
Yeah, counterclockwise and filter fully open, fully clockwise.
So maybe filter at noon and resonance up at noon or something. Try that.
Mm-hmm.
You can see something is happening, and you can start adjusting the frequency knobs also.
Yeah. I'm just going to flick the VCA EG to slow for a moment, just see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so...
You get a little bit of a slower attack.
Sort of slow in, yeah. Okay, cool. So changing the frequencies. Oh, the frequencies on the pitch knobs.
Yeah, try to fiddle a little with them to see what you think sounds good.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's a sort of something that you find, I think, across all of these is that the ranges of the controls just feel really nice. Always feels juicy somehow. The controls always feel the scale of the controls, shall we say, feel always really great with Moog stuff.
So maybe try. Maybe try, getting a higher frequency, maybe in the pitch in the sequencer on step 1 and 5, maybe at noon. To see. Yeah. And I turn maybe it depends obviously, but you can turn up some of the velocity knobs just to have some more rhythm going. Yeah, I'm trying to see what's going on your...
So, it's really hard to see those are dark, aren't they?
Yeah. So
just
maybe turn the VCO2 EG amount up also. And then turn the VCO2 frequency a bit more to the right, clockwise as you would say. Because you have, I think you have the FM amount up, don't you?
FM amount.
Try to turn the FM amount down.
Oh yeah. You start to see what this thing is doing. It is cool. Okay.
So I'm trying to see what's going on.
Get a bit more light on there.
Oh, it's better maybe. Maybe turn the cutoff even more down to maybe the 200 hertz. And then turn the VCF decay up a bit to 9 o'clock maybe, and the VCF EG amount maybe to 3 o'clock. So now you see we get a bit more tonality.
Again, it's that distinctive Moog tonality.
Yeah. And you can play around with the pitch knob now to see.
Yeah, we can hear little things.
And you see why it sounds percussive, not just like, you might not get a bass drum right away, but you get something that sounds percussive.
Yeah.
And you could turn up the noise in the mixer section also, the little noise knob in the middle. Yeah. And we could even do something maybe that is, it's a trick that many use, to have the noise maybe only appear on some notes. We could actually choose that for example, the velocity is controlling the noise level, because that's the interesting things about these ones. As you said, they have all sequences, but we can use the sequences as modulation sources, the CV outputs. So you can actually take the CV output, the pitch output. Now I'm looking at my own unit. It's the lower right output.
Pitch.
Yeah. And patch it into noise level, which is a few times up to the left.
Noise level.
Down. Yeah. And then if we used pitch, then we could use velocity. Try to use velocity. Sorry, one to the left for the lower one. Yeah. And
I see.
We could use another little trick, is to actually have the trigger. There's a trigger output, and if we patch that into the VCA CV, it means we actually overdrive it a bit. Step. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
So you get an extra click, like a little extra voice there. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And you could still have fun with the LFO from 232 and patch it into, for example, one of the decay controls.
Okay, so I'm going to take out the square or the triangle.
Triangle maybe, so it's not too. Yeah, it could. Then we should sync them up maybe.
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, and where are we going to pop this?
One of the decay controls, I think, could be fun.
VCF decay?
Yeah.
Okay, now all this stuff is going on. This is me adjusting the rate, LFO rate.
Yeah. You see, you get a bit more variation into the sequence.
Yeah.
That way. Yeah. Now it's all.
So just having a little explore with some of the controls.
Yeah. And if you want to try something crazy, then you could turn the volume a bit down.
Yeah.
And then turn the tempo fully clockwise.
Ready?
Yeah. Or maybe turn it a bit down. But you see,
oh my God.
It can work as a kind of a wavetable oscillator.
Whoa.
It's crazy how fast it can go.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's up to 3,000 BPM if every step is 16. Around that.
Wow. I was just going to ask, what could it...
Do you get this? Can you hear that kind of liquid sound?
The what, sorry?
It gets kind of liquid, right?
Liquid.
Organic. The filters working,
Yeah.
really interesting.
Wow. My goodness.
But maybe it's time to actually sync up some of the units.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because we could have the Model 32 control the tempo or the advancement of the
clock.
the Dfam.
Of the Dfam. Okay, let's do that then. Let's patch that in now. I think we need to zoom out a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be good. And I can't see the chat, so if people have any questions, they have to shout really loud.
Oh God, I asked. Hang on, let me just turn this. I did ask about questions. I was checking in. I was checking out for questions, but I'm not. Oh my God, there's hundreds and hundreds. Sorry, chat room. Mind you, they're busy having their own. They're all having their own. They're having their own.
We're having fun here.
We're
so
having.
That's fine.
It's like two parties going on.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's the really special thing about all these units. You can turn the tempo up, and it's this what do you call it, organic thing again. And you say,
Right.
as you said, also how you dial in the controls.
Yeah.
There's so much to it.
They do. They've really. There's a lot of care that's gone into the parameter ranges. They really do feel beautiful to control.
There's actually one thing. I'm sorry about that, Gas, but we have to try this.
Yeah.
We have to actually use the Dfam, not synchronized yet.
Okay.
But because people get bored of this same tempo on the Dfam, it's just steady tempo.
Uh-huh.
But one of the tricks that especially Steve Dunnington, who is the hardware lead at Moog, and the Dfam is kind of his brainchild.
Okay.
One of the tricks that he uses is actually using either the pitch or it could also be the velocity knob to control the tempo, because the input on the Dfam to control the tempo is CV controllable, if you can say it like that.
Okay.
So you could actually patch it into the tempo input. It could also be it could be anything. It could be the envelope output from the Model 32 actually. Maybe try that actually.
Let's do that. So
there's an EG output.
EG out. EG.
Yeah. It's beside the KB output, the keyboard output we used earlier.
We did, didn't we?
The second last row. Second last row in the at
KB,
the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
EG
and then
output.
the EG.
Yeah. We got him.
Then patch it into tempo on the Dfam.
Oh, okay.
Then maybe we should hear the Dfam and
so it's
make
gonna
sure the sequencer is. Then try to maybe turn down the
tempo.
Model 32 and the tempo. Yeah. So we don't hear the Model 32, but when you press a note on the Model 32. Yeah.
Like...
So what I advise you now is, for example, you could simply turn off the sustain on the Model 32 and turn the attack to maybe noon and the decay to maybe 3 o'clock, and try it again. Maybe just breathe press.
No, what, sorry?
So if you don't want it to go that fast, it goes fully, up.
Yeah.
You would have to attenuate the signal. Then you would actually use the go through the VC mix.
Ah,
so you
of course.
have the envelope go to the VC mix, and the VC mix output to the tempo control.
Okay, clever. So I was just right. So VC mix is mix VC mix out there. Okay, great.
So,
and now.
Well, that's because the VC mix is turned up.
Yeah, let's turn that down.
Because as you see,
Oops.
It depends on have you put anything else.
I think
into the
I've
mix?
done it. I did it in the wrong place. VC mix. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
I get confused whether I always get confused. There doesn't seem to be a standard whether the text is above or
they
below.
have I think as a designer, I think there could be something they could work a bit with the distance between the but it's hard because some of the jacks have this white circle around them. And so the distance is different from the text to the jack inputs and outputs.
What is the white circle for?
Yeah, I think it's because it's the it's clock inputs. Sorry, outputs.
Clock outputs, of course.
Inputs and outputs.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's inputs.
Okay.
It is a bit confusing.
So we're going. So we're coming. The VC mix is going into there. Okay, that's great. But then we're going to feed the VC mix.
If you start, so the VC mix is going into the Dfam tempo now, right?
Yeah.
And so if we turn
Into
if you turn the VC mix fully counterclockwise. No, this is counterclock. Is it? I can't see which way you're turning.
Oh, sorry, that way.
Okay. Yeah, fully counterclockwise.
Yeah.
And then we patch the EG into the mix 2.
To mix 2.
Oh no, sorry, we are attenuating here, so it should actually be probably put into mix 1. Let's see if we
bring the volume up.
And then turn the VC mix.
Okay.
But this is actually try to push one of the keyboard. Nothing is happening, right?
No.
So is it patched into mix 1 or mix 2? I can see.
At the moment, we're coming into mix 1.
Can I just see it?
Yeah. So
1, 2, 3.
And everything.
It should be put into the second row from the left and number 4 from the bottom.
Oh, I've done it again.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right. Okay. Right.
So how is the VC mix turned now?
So the VC mix turned all the way to the left.
All the way to the left.
Yeah, fully counterclockwise.
Okay, so try to put the EG into mix 1 instead. That's what we.
Yeah, we're going into mix 1. Yeah.
Or we could actually, we could also do it another way. Try to press the button. See if you can adjust the VC mix knob and see what happens.
Okay. Shall I try it in mix 2?
Maybe try the VC mix control. Where is it now? I'll see if I can find it in the book.
This is why you wrote the book.
Yeah, because I can't remember it.
Oh, hang on. This is good. Into mix 2 is doing it, though.
Okay, yeah. Then you can attenuate the effect, right?
Yeah, because now as I pull it back, I can make it less.
Yeah. Good, yeah, that's the mix 2, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it makes sense as well. Because we can. That's what we're trying to get away from. That's too much. Oh, yeah. So it's like a kind of fill, but instead of filling, it just speeds up.
Yeah.
For the duration of the decay.
Yeah.
So I can make the decay short.
The other thing that we really didn't get to try was to patch the velocity into the tempo on the Dfam. So instead of having the Mother 32 control the tempo with the envelope, we can have the Dfam control its own tempo.
Okay.
And that's Steve's tricks and trick that a lot of people use to get more of a groove going, maybe.
Okay.
There's a lot to adjusting the velocity knobs in overall also in getting the right beat. Sounds pretty cool.
It does.
You can't stop doing it. I know.
Okay, so shall we? Where are we at with things now? So shall we try?
Maybe
Go on.
we could also try to sync these two units just normally.
Yes.
I mean, the normal way of doing it.
Okay.
So maybe you could stop the Dfam just by pressing the run stop button. Yeah, the red one, and then simply maybe take out the tempo cable, the yellow cable. Was that routed to the tempo? Yeah. And then we're going to use a really cool output on the Model 32, which has many uses. That's the assign output. It's on the right third from the bottom.
Yeah. So assign.
And put that into the advance/clock. That's the second from the bottom on the right on the Dfam.
Advanced clock. Yeah.
Yeah. So normally or as a default, the assignable output on the Model 32 is assigned to the clock output. That's the default, the sequencer clock. But you can also have, like, say, a division of the clock, like half time, or you could even have the accents output from the sequencer output through the assignable out.
Oh, interesting.
And there's actually even more crazy stuff we can go into.
How do you decide what that assign is then?
I think we should go into that afterwards. But there's a whole menu system using the sequencer and the buttons on the Moog Model 32.
Ah, okay.
But what I wanted to show now is that now you should, because the Dfam is analog, you have to advance manually the sequencer steps by pushing the black button to the right of the red one on the
Advanced
Dfam.
bucket, yeah.
So you go to step 8 and stop there. Yeah, stop there, because then when you start the sequencer,
it starts
on the one.
It
starts on the first step.
Good, right.
So I have no idea what's in the sequencer on the Model 32, but you could turn it up and make sure we get maybe plucky sounds. Yeah, the sustain is off. Cool. And simply just press play and see what's happening.
Nothing. Hang on, the cutoff was laid down. There we go.
Nothing's happening.
It's not advancing steps here.
No, but it's still have the tempo from the. Oh, sorry. You have to. Sorry, that's me. You have to arm the sequencer also. You actually have to press run stop on the Dfam first.
Aha. Right. So
yeah, and then you press play on the Model 32. Yeah. So at least they're in sync now. So you can press stop again.
And then look, there's me controlling the tempo with the Dfam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Stop.
But the Model 32 sounds weird. So maybe we should just have it attack at 0 and decay at noon or 10 o'clock.
Yep.
And then maybe we should input some steps on the sequencer.
Yeah, because we haven't even looked at we said we were going to come back to the sequencer on here, so now is a good time.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to adjust the camera angle. So the sequencer is really cool, and in the recent firmware update, it actually got some new direction modes. So it doesn't have to go just from left to right. It can go from right to left or backwards. It can go pendulum, and it can go random even. Okay. And you can even address the different steps by CV.
Neat.
And you can also advance the sequencer by a trigger signal coming from somewhere else. So it has really a lot of, different uses.
And I can see on the there's like numbers on the under here. We can 1 to 8, 9 to 16, 17. So we can actually do a 32-step sequence, and we choose these upper buttons to set. Right. Okay. Interesting.
Simply, the easy way to do it is if just one thing to learn is that if you want to clear a sequence, you simply press the shift and the reset and the pattern bank.
Shift reset
and pattern bank, and you'll see the LEDs do something.
And then they all filled up. Yep. So we've now got. I should press play, and we'll have an empty sequence, or just a default sequence.
That's the kind of the default. Yeah. So you press now. You would press Shift Run Stop.
Yep.
And then you should be able to press just once. And then when you press a key on the keyboard now, it inputs that on step 1. Yeah, and then you press another key. And you see, you input step by step now, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm not. Why am I not changing pitch?
Are you holding down any buttons or?
I might have still been. Was I still holding shift down? Maybe.
Try to hold down shift and then step.
Okay.
Oh, you did something.
I'm just gonna wipe that again though. So what was it? It was run stop. It was shift.
Yeah, you have different pitches.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I'll just start that again though. I think I get it now. So shift, reset, and pattern bank. They flick up. That clears. Now.
Yes.
So now I'm going to start entering
notes.
Notes. Yeah. So I know shift and record to go into shift and run stop to go into record mode. Steps are flashing. I can now, and is it, if I enter 6 steps and then stop, will that set it to be a 6-step sequence?
Yes.
Oh, okay, brilliant. So I could just go. Like so.
And you can press run stop and run stop again.
Nice. And we're synced.
Yeah.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Oh, yeah. So we should
try to, while it's running, try to just press the hold button.
The hold here?
Yeah.
That'll just hold the particular step that you're on?
Yes. Then you could also try while the sequence is running.
Yeah.
Press shift and step.
Shift and step, this one.
Yeah. And let it go again. You just let it go. You don't have to hold it.
Oh yeah.
And now press some of the buttons. Press some of the steps.
Oh, great.
Turn them on and off. Yeah.
Oh, I'm away. I'm in my happy land now.
So, and there's one thing you even haven't done yet.
I'm not interested anymore. Don't care what you have to say. I was joking.
Try to press, while it's running, you could also press Shift Keyboard or KB, so, the octave left button.
Yeah.
Press Shift on that one and let go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you're into keyboard mode, which when you start the sequencer, just start the sequencer, try to press one of the keys.
Transposes a sequence.
And you can use the octave buttons in connecting.
Set where you want it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bass on bass.
Okay, great. So
far so good.
So far so good. So go on.
So to break it up, you could also, when you input steps, obviously you can input rest 2, you can input, you can tie notes together, and you can input ratchets also.
Oh, neat.
So that's actually pretty neat, yeah. So there's button combinations to do that stuff, and you have you can also have different gate lengths. You see the tempo knob, there's a gate length text beside that.
Yeah.
And you can input glide also. You can turn glide on and off on steps by turning up the glide knob when you have a step selected.
Yeah.
So in that way, you can really do some nice sequences. And you can edit the pitches of the steps while the sequencer is playing also.
Okay.
So you could try to delete this sequence. If you remember the
Let's get rid of that one.
button combination.
Yep. So
Shift
reset, pattern bank, bang. Yep.
Yeah. And then maybe you go in shift run stop mode, so we record.
Into record, flashing.
Yeah. And then maybe try to input some notes, maybe with a bit more contrast in octave.
Octave, good idea. Okay, so we'll go.
Yeah. And then try to turn glide on for some of them by wiggling the glide knob and turning it up clockwise.
Turn it whilst you're entering notes?
Yeah. So before you enter it, you turn it up clockwise.
All the way?
Yeah, something like that. Above noon, I think it is. And then just press a new note. Yeah. And then you can also try to input some accents.
Okay.
Or rests while you do it. Just try out some of these controls.
So I can move through the sequence, the steps that I've already put in with these, can I? With these?
Yeah.
So I could go back.
So.
Oh yeah.
Oh
no, that's no.
What's happening on my screen now?
Oh.
Maybe that's you. It doesn't matter.
Oh.
The image of the.
What's happened? There we go.
Unit is the most important, I guess. So
good, thank you. Right.
You could try. Do you want to input a ratchet, for example?
Yeah.
Somewhere?
Great idea. Yeah.
So if you hold, so that's a combination. So if hold Shift.
Yep.
And turn the glide control.
Hold Shift, turn glide control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see this change in that.
Yeah, you can see the octave and location lights. They change, so they show you something that's going on. Yeah. So and just input some more notes and put in some more ratchets.
What is that doing? Is that what am I actually changing there?
You're applying ratchets for that step.
Ah, and so you can have up to four ratchets on a step.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, gotcha.
That's something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should also say, and I don't think we have time to go into that, but the sequencer, if it is clocked from somewhere else, it can have clock divisions, clock multiplications of that tempo. And there's even swing percentages, and you can swing in triplets. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
You're going to have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
We're not going to see you anymore.
Shall I press the start button and see what that sequence is?
Yeah, let's see what we've done. What have we done?
I have no idea. Well... I don't know if I managed to get those slides in properly.
Yeah.
Masterpiece.
That's a Grammy right there.
Let me wipe that sequence and let's just go through those steps again because I think I might have just missed something. So I'm going to go Shift, Accent, and Pattern Bank. Oh no, Shift. Yeah, that was right. Shift.
Reset, Pattern Bank.
Shift, Reset, Pattern Bank. Okay, and I'm going to go Shift, Run to go back into step mode. So what I would think I was misunderstanding when I'm in step mode. Then, as I add notes in, I will create a sequence of however many steps. I suppose you have to kind of manually count them then when you put in steps in. There's nothing tells you where you are.
Yeah. Yes, the lights beneath the steps shows you where you are.
Oh, they will advance, will they?
Yeah, they will. So if you input more than 8, it will show that the step number 1 is lit again. So
I see them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I missed that before, but
and you see there's also a button named Set End, so you can always change where you want the sequence to end.
When it's right.
So okay, that sequence can get a bit repetitive. So what we could do here is actually say, why not play it in pendulum, for example?
So it goes up and then it goes back. Yeah.
So you can try to start it. Just press the run stop. Yeah. And then while it's running, you can press the keyboard and step buttons, the 2 octave buttons.
Yeah.
Just let the sequence running. And then you press step number 3 while you have those 2 down.
Hold them down.
Yeah, and step number 3.
Gotcha.
See it go back and forth now.
Nice.
And try number 4.
Random.
That's random.
And I'm assuming 2 will run it backwards. Yeah. 1 runs it forward. 2 runs it backwards. 3 back and forward. 4 random. Nice. So what I was saying, I was hoping...
I adjust the oscillator frequency a bit down.
Yeah, it's a bit nasty, isn't it? What else is going on here?
You could also turn the VCA decay counterclockwise, so we get less, more shorter percussive hits on the Dfam.
Oh, yeah.
The VCA decay is on the right.
VCA decay. On the right, sorry, VCA
Right,
decay.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, nice. Nice call.
Now we
Good
can do what
call.
we're doing.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, cool. So one
Yeah.
thing that is actually pretty nice is that assignable output. Maybe we should have a look at that and see if we can get some more randomness into the sequence.
Okay.
And what I know many like to do is assign a random CV value per sequencer step to that output. And so you have to go into a menu to access this, and that's where it gets interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The way you go into that menu is by holding down Shift and Reset and Set End and 8. So it's basically the 2 leftmost and the two rightmost.
Got you, yeah.
Buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you press, I always press the Shift first and then Reset and then Set End and 8.
Shift, Reset, Set End, 8. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just let them go.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're in a what do you call it? A paged system.
Yeah, you've got like a yellow and a green LED light of appeared on there.
Try to press the octave buttons, left and right, and see how it moves around.
Yeah, it moves the green light and yeah. Oh, you can't quite see that on the thing, but yeah, it's going. Those two are also going back and forward between those two. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we've done it right, and I'm not sure, but let's see. Then you should be on page 1, and you could actually when you're at page 1, you can press step number 8 there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's added another.
That's enough. So now, if you go back, you could just press the same button combination again: Shift, Reset, Set End, 8.
Shift, Reset. Oh yeah, these two. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe should we be out? Maybe just press Shift, Run Stop, something.
Shift, Run Stop.
I always forget how I get out again.
Okay, I'm still in that because the little lights are still lit there. So
yeah, just maybe just Shift, Reset, and Set End.
Shift, Reset, Set End, and 8 that's maybe. Oh, 8 is toggling that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but
I'm still.
Can you start the sequencer?
Yep.
Okay, so we can see if it has worked.
Yeah, it's gone out of step now with the.
So you could try to press Shift keyboard or Shift step, maybe Shift keyboard.
What is it? What?
Shift.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's changed that now.
Probably be in keyboard mode now.
Yep.
If you press some of the step notes, you probably play a note. Yeah. So we should be back now somehow. Yeah, we can see the steps moving.
Yeah, forward and backwards.
So you can use now the assignable output to patch, for example, to the filter cutoff. That's the most noticeable, I guess. Or it could be the mix CV to let some noise in randomly.
So we're coming. So at the moment we're advancing the clock out of the assign output.
Yeah.
Are we going to be pulling that out?
Yeah. It's just let the assignable out go to the DC cutoff, maybe.
Cutoff.
On 1232. It's on the up. Number 2 from the upper. Yeah, did you? The white cable into it now.
Oh yeah, that's
Take that out.
the noise level, yeah.
No, I'm thinking on the Model 32.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now
Oh,
we
yeah.
get a more, what do you call it? Random opening and closing of the filter.
Yeah. So what did we just do there with that menu then? What were we achieving?
So we went into this menu where we can set up some parameters. And what we did was we can select what that assignable output should be outputting.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
it can actually output the accents also. And as we before that, we actually used the sequencer clock output because that's the default. That's why it was set at
That's
step number
what
2.
it was turning. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But one of the cool things not many people use, maybe, I don't know, but what I like to use is actually the setting 5, 6, 7, and 8, because that's, we used 8, which is random, but 5, 6, and 7 is actually modulation waveforms in stepped modulation waveforms,
Oh,
like a
interesting.
ramp, a saw, and a triangle. And they stretch over the whole span of the sequence. So if you're doing a 16-step sequence, the ramp will ramp up and
And if you,
reach its maximum at the last step.
and if you play that, so then if you play with the set end, it'll always, so that'll change the rate that does that. Then if you sort of make the set end, make it just 2 steps, it will just make that ramp.
So that means you could make a sequence and you could have the filter open automatically during that sequence and then close down again and start opening again.
Yeah. That's
Something
a cool,
like that.
That's a cool way around it. That's very, yeah.
Yeah. So there are more options there, so to speak.
Okay.
And you can even have, actually, just to say, you can actually even have MIDI CCs going from the MIDI input and route them through the assignable output, like pitch bend or pressure or velocity, for example.
I think a little printout, laminate a little printout, it might be necessary, and tuck it underneath there or something, just to learn some of those.
Yeah,
I guess that's one of the things with something like this. That's a bit of a dichotomy in a way. They're trying to design it to be like a function, one function per knob, you know. However, having little secrets buried inside, they're almost like little Easter eggs, aren't they?
yeah. And you know, another Easter egg on the Subharmonicon actually is that you have these wonderful envelopes, but you can't really modulate the attack and decay times from the front panel.
No.
But you can by using MIDI.
Oh, really?
And so that's one of the things we could dive into at maybe another day. So,
well, actually, speaking of which, I'm just looking at the time. So, well, I was just thinking about if you would be so kind to join me again on another one of these.
I'd be happy to, Cass.
I think that would be brilliant, because I think what we've done tonight is essentially. Oh, Mike. Yeah, there we go. Here I am. Well, it's really fascinating. I mean, this is literally my first go on these. Well, with the Subharmonicon accepted, but getting into, well, I'm definitely going to be going through the book like with a fine tooth comb, but making like for instance, there you said about the MIDI out, these little extra little features that are inside here, and I'm quite fascinated about. However, I'm still quite overwhelmed with just what it can do. Again, not patched at all. So, well, I'm just wondering whether shall we call it a night now? Just because we've gone, I'm always thinking if we've gone quite long, and I'm always thinking that people may.
Have people fallen asleep in the chat? Maybe
the chat is still rocking, and we still got a good lot of people there. But I think what we should do is we should schedule a patch and tweak with Moog part 2, And
That'd
then,
be cool.
yeah, and I think that'll be great then, because we can go. I'll familiarize myself a bit more with this in the interim, but then I think we can jump in a lot deeper then. So hopefully people will be up to speed with it from maybe watching this one, or who are maybe familiar with them already. And that'll be cool. So yeah, we'll treat this as like as the part one, and then in a few weeks' time we'll do a part two if that's cool.
I'd be up for it, definitely.
Yay.
I mean, you can get so much out of this with just tweaking, and we already started patching actually. And I just want to show one of the things we should go to next time. Then it would be a patch like this.
Yeah.
That's the one I call Slappy Bass and Jazzy Klingon guitar.
Slappy Bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then so we'll go in for the big patches from the start with part two. So, Kim, it came out last Friday, was it?
Yeah, we released it Friday. And it's shipping now, basically, all over the world now. But it takes time to go through the mail and all that stuff, obviously.
Forward by Hans Zimmer, and Hans actually joined you on the show on Friday.
He did. That was cool.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And Susan Charney, and and Lisa and King Brett. It was
wonderful people.
What a show. Okay, so if anyone's spouses are watching, Christmas present, I think, is
definitely, I'd say, yeah. And if they don't have the original patch and tweak, that the two together is really nice also, because I mean, Gaz, you've been diving into Eurorack really for real, and
I have. Yeah.
That's quite a step. And I want to say maybe in the end of each chapter in this book, there are some Eurorack suggestions and add-ons you can start with if you have any of these units. But in the big patch and tweak I did with Chris Meyer, we have, you get maybe more of a full modular understanding where everything gets, broken up into pieces. But I think that this one is probably the good one to start with if you're new into this.
But also, there's a lot of historical background as well as the patches and and anecdotes and various things. Because you can get these cases, you can get bigger Moog cases, can't you? With so you can get this triple deck, but in a wider version with blank parts, so you can add your own.
Yeah, I think they're still doing them. Yeah, as far as I remember. Yeah, but I mean, as you also say, you can put them in your Eurorack case if you want to. I did that when I went to a little holiday after finishing the book. I took the Subharmonicon and put them into the case, and then went to Northern Jutland with some other Eurorack stuff beside, and they fit nicely in a 104 HP case. You have still stuff left on the right. I also put them on the left because then you have the Patchbay closest to all your other stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I'm quite interested now to see what happens when to get lost in it, but just in its own world before it's sort of linking it up to anything else. But just in terms of effects, do you think they should do another one in this same format that's like
with effects,
like a mixer with effects in the same format with really nice?
I'm not sure about effects, but maybe if you have effect sends and returns, if you have some kind of a mixer, and there are some utilities I'd like to have, like a sample and hold, and some stuff, maybe a central clock thing and a clock divider. A probability skipper is really nice to have, and so there are some things you could definitely wish for, but I mean, I think that Moog likes to do these, what do we call it, more confined instruments in their own right. But you never know. I mean, they have done the old Mooga Fugas and all that stuff. and a lot of people love to use these with guitar pedals too. I mean, and the Moogerfoogers. So, but obviously, you know, where should you start and when should you stop?
I,
It's
yeah.
always the two important
I
questions.
was interested. You said Moogerfooger then, not Mogerfoger then. It
Oh,
is.
sorry, that's my
Is it
fault.
Mogerfoger?
Moogerfooger.
Is it
Yeah, it's like when you say Vogue. That's how I remember it.
for
You say
for
Moog.
Moog? But with
Yeah.
I always thought it was Moogerfooger, Moog making Moogerfooger, because
Moog making Moogerfoger?
but
No,
Mogerfoger,
Moogerfooger. Yeah, I would say.
Mogerfoger sounds a bit rude, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You Mogerfoger, yeah. But yes.
definitely. Yeah.
Well, Kim, thank you.
This has been fun.
Yeah, lots of fun. Thank you ever
Yeah.
so much. And Chatties, again, thank you so much for joining us. It's just, I'm sorry I've been a little bit too preoccupied to follow the chat, but really appreciate everybody being there.
We could. I'd say, guys, I could read it back when it gets online. You know, we can watch this back, and then I'll see if there's any questions. We can answer them in the next one.
You're brilliant, yeah. So so we'll definitely be back for a patch and tweak with Moog Part 2 in the near future, and maybe in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, thanks everybody so much for joining us. I'll be back on Monday with my further adventures in Eurorack if you want to join me for that. And next week, I've got another interesting guest who will be announced maybe around the weekend. So stay tuned for that. But Kim, thank you once again for not just being an awesome dude who writes brilliant books, but for coming on my little shonky little show. And yeah, it's real.
I love it,
pleasure.
guys. Thanks for
Right.
having me.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody. Catch you soon. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and all that blah 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 blah, and give us a likes. And yeah. All right. See ya. Right. We're still. Let's just. Are you? Oh.
I'm here.
Yeah. One moment. What did I do with that? What did I do with that? Remote control. Is it? Come on.